Did you know that in Silicon Valley right now, software engineers are talking about taking the Cloud Pill? It's not a real drug, but an addiction to an AI that lets them code so fast, it feels like wishing for a feature and watching it instantly appear.
That is absolutely wild, but it makes total sense with how fast things are moving.
Welcome to Mr. Qian Relaxed English Podcast. I am Mr. Qian.
And I am Lily.
So for today's deep dive, we are pulling from a really fascinating source. It's this incredibly insightful video interview from the Harvard Business Review featuring Sega Cheng.
Right, the co-founder and chairman of iKala.
Exactly. And our mission today is to unpack this massive paradox. Like, why is AI actually making busy people even busier?
Yeah, it's so counterintuitive.
It really is. We are going to explore how the technology fundamentally shifted in late 2025 with the true arrival of AI agents, and most importantly, what you, listening right now, must do to survive this incoming workplace tsunami.
Because it really is a critical mission for this deep dive. I mean, the shift we are analyzing, it isn't just some minor software update to the tools you use every day.
Oh, definitely not.
No, we are looking at a total fundamental rewiring of how work gets done, how value is created, and honestly, what it even means to be an expert in your field anymore.
Right.
So if you were sitting there wondering how this impacts your own career trajectory, well, we are going to clarify exactly what is happening beneath the surface.
Let's start by unpacking that hook I mentioned earlier, the whole Cloud Pill concept.
Yeah.
Because I think this perfectly illustrates the AI paradox.
Oh, absolutely.
You would logically assume, right, that introducing highly advanced automation into your workflow would mean you get to, I don't know, clock out at 3 p.m. and go play golf.
Right, the 4-hour work week dream.
Exactly. But the reality, and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang pointed this out perfectly, is that if you are a busy person with a lot of ideas, AI is not going to reduce your workload. It is going to multiply it.
It's so wild, but the underlying logic makes complete sense. I mean, the bottleneck for highly driven, creative people has rarely been a lack of ideas.
Yeah, never a shortage of ideas.
Right. It has almost always been a lack of execution bandwidth. Before, you might have, say, 10 brilliant ideas for a project, but you only had the physical time and resources to actually execute one of them.
Because you're just one person?
Exactly. But now you suddenly have the capacity to execute all 10 simultaneously. So you aren't doing less work at all. You are managing a vastly expanded portfolio of output.
And the personal example Sega Cheng shares in the interview is honestly extreme. But it really drives this reality home.
Oh, the setup he has.
Yeah. He is currently operating across multiple screens at home, commanding several different AI models all at the exact same time.
Wow.
Like, he is writing board summaries on one screen, generating code on another, and handling corporate communications on a third. And the most shocking detail to me is his commute.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He literally keeps his laptop open in the passenger seat of his car. So when he hits a red light, he can quickly type out a new prompt to his AI, just, keep it coding while he drives.
Which frankly sounds like a complete recipe for total burnout.
Yeah, don't try that at home. Or, well, in the car.
Right. But it highlights a critical technological threshold that the industry crossed around the fourth quarter of 2025.
The shift to agents.
Exactly. Before that point, we were largely dealing with AI as just a chatbot. And a chatbot operates on a pretty simple mechanism. You give it a prompt, and it predicts the most likely next word in a sequence to generate a text-based answer.
Like a really smart autocomplete.
Right. It's a passive, highly articulate encyclopedia. But in Q4 2025, the models crossed a threshold in logical reasoning and truly became agents.
So let's break down that mechanism for you listening, because that distinction is so vital. An agent doesn't just predict text, it acts.
It does things.
Exactly. It operates on a cognitive loop. So it takes a high-level goal, breaks it down into a multi-step plan, uses external tools like a web browser or a code editor, observes the results of its actions, and then, corrects its own errors until the goal is achieved.
And a perfect, highly relatable example of this is an agent known as Qian.
Oh, little lobster.
Yes, little lobster. It's this AI agent that you installed directly onto your operating system. And instead of asking it, how to organize your messy files, you simply give it a high-level complaint. You just say, my desktop is messy.
Wait, just that? You don't tell it what folders to make or what files to actually move?
Nope, you don't have to at all. The agent autonomously analyzes your entire desktop environment. It recognizes that you have, say, a scattered mess of image files.
Okay.
Then it categorizes them by their visual content, like identifying all your beach photos and mountain photos. It creates a new folder named Travel Photos entirely on its own and physically moves the relevant files into it.
That's crazy.
It executes a complete workflow based on just a vague human frustration.
Okay, let's pause here for a second because I have a serious concern about this.
Uh-oh. What is it?
Well, it sounds like we've upgraded from an interactive encyclopedia to an overeager, hyperactive intern who somehow has the keys to the entire building.
That's a funny way to put it.
I mean, if this agent is autonomously moving files around, what happens when it misinterprets a command? I am terrified of the idea of an AI accidentally deleting my tax returns or just, permanently wiping a critical project folder.
Yeah, the stakes are definitely higher.
Right. Like if we have to spend all our time double-checking their work so they don't burn down our digital office, are we actually saving any time?
That is exactly the defining friction point of this era. When you transition from an AI that just generates text to an AI that has full read and write access to your hard drive.
Or worse, your company's database.
Exactly. The stakes completely skyrocket. But the technology is maturing specifically to address this through ironclad constraints. You don't just let the agent run wild.
You have to put a leash on it.
Right. You learn to set strict boundaries. For example, you assign move-only permissions, which physically restricts the AI from ever executing a delete command.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so you are really transitioning into the role of managing an autonomous system. And once those technical guardrails are firmly in place, the time saved absolutely dwarfs that initial friction of setting it up.
Okay, so if these agents are becoming reliable enough to handle our digital chores, organize our data, and execute these workflows, we have to look at the immediate fallout.
The tsunami?
Yes.
Oh.
What happens to the people whose entire job is building those digital tools? The software engineers, ironically, are sitting right in the first row for the tsunami.
It's so true.
The people who build the automation are basically the first to be fully automated.
It is a profound irony, really. And it has led to this fascinating phenomenon taking hold among tech leaders right now, which is being called activating founder mode.
Founder mode. I love that term.
Yeah. Because AI has become so incredibly capable at writing architecture and logic, executives and founders who previously spent their days just, managing large teams are returning to the absolute front lines of product development.
Getting their hands dirty again.
Exactly. Using an advanced AI model, specifically Claude. In this case, Sega actually wrote 400,000 lines of code in just 2 months.
Okay, let's put that number into perspective for a second. 400,000 lines of code is not a simple website. It's not a basic mobile app.
Not at all.
That is the equivalent of an entire traditional SaaS system, software as a service. That is an enterprise-level platform, something companies usually pay massive subscriptions for. And it was built by one executive with an AI assistant in 60 days.
It's mind-blowing.
But wait, surely a CEO writing 400,000 lines of code creates a massive bottleneck, right? If he's spending all day coding, who is actually running the company?
Well, it would definitely be a bottleneck if he were typing it out line by line, but he isn't.
Ah.
The AI is doing all the heavy lifting of the actual syntax. He is just providing the architectural vision. And this really exposes the underlying economic math of the current landscape.
Which is brutal.
It is. When a senior engineer or a founder with deep domain knowledge pairs up with an advanced AI, they experience a 10x to 20x productivity boost.
Wow. 20 times.
Yeah. The AI acts as a massive multiplier on your existing baseline. So if your skill level is a 10 out of 10, the AI turns you into a 200. You are effectively doing the work of an entire traditional software development team by yourself.
That is incredible for the senior staff, obviously. But let's look at the dark side of that math for a minute. What happens if you are a 1 out of 10?
Right.
Like if you are a 22-year-old junior engineer fresh out of university and the AI multiplies your output, you just become a 2 or a 3.
Which is nothing.
Right. That is still vastly less productive than what the senior engineer was doing before the AI even showed up.
And honestly, it's actually more brutal than that. Corporations see this math perfectly clearly, and they are acting on it right now. Tech companies are aggressively wiping out entry-level jobs.
Just gone.
Yeah. They are letting go of junior engineers because those traditional training ground positions are no longer economically viable. I mean, why pay a junior developer a full salary to write basic boilerplate code when a senior developer's AI agent can generate it in 4 seconds for fractions of a penny?
And the corporations aren't just hoarding that saved salary money either. They are reallocating it to buy massive amounts of GPU compute power.
Yes, the new resource.
And just to clarify for you listening, GPUs are the specialized computer chips that process the massive calculations required to run these AI models. Global computing power demand is expected to grow by 100 times in the next 3 to 5 years.
100 times. It's staggering.
Companies are literally trading junior human capital for machine compute capital.
Exactly. It's a total reallocation of corporate resources.
But this creates a terrifying paradox for education, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
If the bottom rungs of the career ladder are completely sawed off, how does anyone ever get to the roof? Shouldn't students studying computer science right now be in a state of absolute panic?
You would think so.
Like, how do you get 5 years of experience if no one will hire you for your first year? Are we basically creating a lost generation of tech workers?
You would definitely think so if you look at it strictly through the old paradigm. But the synthesis here is that the definition of what a computer science degree actually is must fundamentally change.
How so?
Well, coding is rapidly transitioning from a specialized, highly paid trade to a foundational general education skill, much like basic math or reading.
Just something everyone knows how to do.
Right. You won't get hired just because you know how to write Python syntax, just like an accountant doesn't get hired simply because they know how to operate a physical calculator. The future belongs exclusively to the architects.
Okay, so what does it actually mean to be an architect at 22 years old?
It means you survive by understanding the deep structure of systems. You need the computer science knowledge not to write the code line by line, but to know how to direct the AI.
Like a manager.
Exactly. How to audit its logic for security flaws and how to snap different AI-generated modules together to form a scalable product. You have to essentially operate at a senior architectural level from day one.
That's a huge expectation.
It is. Practically speaking, this means a junior developer has to build complex AI-assisted projects on their own time, demonstrating real system-level thinking before they ever even sit down for an interview.
Wow. And you know, this tsunami isn't stopping at the tech sector either. It is sweeping directly into every single white-collar profession that relies on data, spreadsheets, and methodology.
Yes, nobody is immune.
The consulting and data analysis industries are taking massive hits right now.
Just think about the core value proposition of a high-end business consultant. You basically hire them for two reasons. First, they bring an objective third-party perspective to your messy internal operations.
Right, fresh eyes.
Exactly. And second, they apply established analytical frameworks to your data.
Like frameworks like a SWOT analysis, where you map out strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, or complex financial pivot tables. Right. But the mechanism of a large language model is literally optimized to digest massive amounts of text and perfectly apply established patterns to it.
Precisely. So if you upload your company's raw financial spreadsheets to an advanced AI, it immediately provides that external perspective without any internal corporate bias.
Because it doesn't care about office politics.
Exactly. And it has every single business framework ever published perfectly memorized. It can analyze the data, spot the supply chain inefficiencies, generate the pivot tables, and write a 30-page strategic executive summary in literally seconds.
So fast.
Yeah. So data analysis jobs are seeing sharp declines because the AI handles the mechanical extraction of those insights flawlessly.
So AI is essentially this incredibly well-read consultant who never sleeps, has zero office politics, and doesn't charge you $1,000 an hour.
Pretty much.
But this brings up a really crucial question for you listening. If AI has all the methodologies memorized and can do all the heavy lifting, is there any point in humans learning data analysis or legal frameworks anymore?
There absolutely is, and it really comes down to this concept of the T-shaped professional.
The T-shape, yeah.
Yeah, picture a capital letter T. The horizontal bar at the top represents your broad general knowledge, which today must include knowing how to prompt AI, how basic code works, and how to manage these agents.
Right.
But that vertical bar of the T, that is your deep, specialized domain knowledge.
You know, let's move away from the cliche of being the conductor of an orchestra here.
Sure.
It's really more like moving from flying a vintage biplane with a stick and rudder to commanding a modern commercial jet.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the AI is the autopilot. It can handle the altitude, the navigation, and the fuel mixture perfectly. You aren't physically pulling the levers anymore.
Right.
But if an engine catches fire over the ocean, you better have a deep, fundamental understanding of aerodynamics and emergency protocols to tell that autopilot exactly what to do to save the plane.
That is the perfect analogy. Because if you are a legal expert or a biologist or a supply chain manager, you still need that deep human expertise, that vertical bar of the T to know what questions to ask the AI.
Exactly. If you don't know the law, you can't ask the right libel questions.
Right. If you don't actually know corporate law, you won't know if the AI's brilliant new legal strategy is actually just a hallucination that is about to get your entire company sued.
A very expensive mistake.
Huge. A weak professional asks the AI weak, vague questions and gets generic, useless answers. But a top-tier professional uses their deep domain knowledge to ask highly specific, nuanced questions, which turns the AI into an incredibly powerful lever.
And this shift is also completely destroying traditional corporate modes, which brings us to a really fascinating distinction between two types of businesses.
B2C versus B2B.
Yes, B2C, which is business to consumer, and B2B, which is business to business. The B2C space right now is turning into an absolute bloodbath.
It really is, largely because the switching costs for everyday consumers have basically dropped to zero.
Yeah, there's no loyalty.
None. If a new AI app comes out today that edits your selfies slightly better than the one you downloaded yesterday, you just delete the old one and switch instantly.
Exactly.
Furthermore, AI agents are destroying traditional web traffic models. Think about it. Why would you visit 3 different recipe blogs, scroll past all their personal stories, and look at all those banner ads when an AI agent can just read those blogs in the background and instantly give you the summarized recipe?
You wouldn't.
Right. The B2C middleman is being entirely cut out.
But B2B companies, the enterprises providing complex services to other businesses, they are the real survivors here.
They are.
Because their moat isn't just having some clever software interface. Their true competitive advantage is having a decade of accumulated proprietary industry data and deeply established sticky customer relationships.
Right, because if you have been collecting specialized, highly sensitive data on, say, medical supply chain logistics for 10 years, a group of kids with a flashy AI startup can't replicate that overnight.
No matter how good their coding agent is.
Exactly. And a massive hospital network isn't going to just rip out their verified, secure supply chain software just because a cheaper AI tool popped up on the internet.
However, even these B2B companies are being forced to adapt, particularly when it comes to legacy software.
Oh, definitely.
Traditional back-office operations and massive CRM customer relationship management systems or ERP enterprise resource planning software are under severe threat.
Huge threat.
These are the giant, bloated systems companies use to track inventory and sales, and they usually cost an absolute fortune in monthly fees.
And they are threatened because a small business with, say, 10 employees no longer needs to pay thousands of dollars a month for a massive generic SaaS subscription.
The barrier's just gone.
Completely gone.
Yeah.
A small business owner can literally open up an AI and say, build me a lightweight custom CRM from scratch that only tracks my local plumbing clients.
And it just does it.
Yeah. The AI will generate the database and the interface in minutes, so it forces all those legacy software companies to rapidly integrate AI just to justify their bloated subscription prices.
So, if the software is essentially writing itself, if the high-end consultants are replaced by algorithms, and if administrative systems are being generated on the fly, we arrive at the ultimate philosophical question of this deep dive.
The big one.
Yes. What exactly makes humans valuable in this new world?
It really comes down to looking at what AI fundamentally lacks.
Which is?
Well, AI is just a digital brain suspended in a server farm. It has zero physical, real-world experience.
Right?
It has never felt the wind on its face. It has never experienced grief, and it has never had to navigate the nuanced, unspoken tension of a crowded meeting room.
It doesn't know what it means to be alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because of that limitation, human storytelling based on actual lived experience becomes our ultimate premium value.
That perfectly explains a cultural trend we are seeing right now that I find deeply, deeply fascinating.
The physical experiences.
Yes. Physical experiences are seeing a massive, explosive resurgence. Live concerts are selling out instantly, stadium sports are booming, and young people are even going back to shooting on retro 35mm film cameras.
It's so true.
Why are we running backward to analog tech when digital is so perfect?
It is a direct psychological reaction to the zero marginal cost nature of the AI era.
Okay, explain that.
Well, when any hyper-realistic digital image, perfectly written text, or stunning video can be instantly generated for free in 3 seconds, the digital world entirely loses its scarcity.
It loses its value.
Exactly. And human beings inherently crave tangible, scarce reality. We want to know that the singer is actually sweating on stage. We want to know that a photograph captures a physical photon of light hitting a physical piece of chemical film.
We crave authenticity.
Yes, that craving for authenticity means that professions rooted in physical presence and deep human empathy, like hands-on healthcare, physical therapy, and psychological counseling, are going to see a massive boost in economic value.
Because an AI can't hold your hand.
Right. An AI can scan your chart and give you a perfectly accurate medical diagnosis, but it cannot hold your hand and provide genuine empathy when you receive terrifying news.
You know, it's almost as if we've spent the last century racing to be the most efficient, data-driven machines possible.
We really have.
We optimized our workflows, we quantified every ounce of our output, we tried to strip away emotion to act like perfect algorithms. But now that actual machines have comprehensively won that efficiency race, we are being forced to remember how to be human again.
It's beautiful, in a way.
It is. Does this mean the humanities and the liberal arts fields that have been mocked for decades as impractical are actually making a massive comeback?
They absolutely are, and we are already seeing the leading edge of this shift in the job market right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mastering natural language is now far more critical than mastering a specific programming language. You command these powerful AI systems through the written word.
Right, prompting.
Exactly. That means your ability to articulate a complex thought, to use highly precise vocabulary, and to structure a bulletproof logical argument is your most vital technical skill.
Wow.
We are literally seeing major tech companies actively recruiting from literature and philosophy departments for prompt engineering roles, specifically because those students understand the deep, subtle nuances of human language.
Which completely recontextualizes Sega Cheng's intense daily routine that we mentioned earlier. He maintains a habit of consuming 200 pages of English academic papers every single day.
Every day.
At first glance, you might ask, why bother reading 200 pages if you have an AI that can just summarize it for you in one paragraph?
Well, he does use AI to help manage that sheer volume of information, but he is doing the actual reading to constantly feed his own brain.
Building his vocabulary.
Right. He is actively expanding his vocabulary, exposing himself to new conceptual frameworks, and just deepening his general knowledge. He knows that to be a better pilot for his AI agents, he needs a broader understanding of the world so he can ask them better, more sophisticated questions.
And that brings us to the ultimate survival rule. If there is one single trait you must cultivate to survive this white-collar tsunami, it is curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity sounds like a generic platitude you'd read on a motivational poster, but in this context, it is a highly practical survival mechanism.
Exactly. Let's look at a concrete scenario. When a new, highly advanced AI tool drops that can do 80% of your job, there are basically two reactions.
Right.
The anxious worker hides from it, hopes their boss doesn't find out about it, and continues doing things the slow way out of sheer fear.
And they get replaced.
Exactly. They will be replaced. But the curious worker, they open the tool immediately, not with dread, but with a genuine desire to see where its limits are.
They test it.
Yes. They try to break it. They figure out its blind spots. Curiosity is the root of resilience because it fuels the passion required to constantly learn and adapt without being paralyzed by the sheer uncertainty of the future.
So let's take a step back and look at the massive ground we've covered in this deep dive.
We covered a lot.
We did. We started with the realization that AI isn't a vacation pass. It is a brutal multiplier that takes busy, driven people and gives them the execution capacity of an entire organization.
Right.
We explored the critical jump from passive chatbots predicting text to autonomous agents taking independent action on our devices.
We also faced the harsh economic realities of the white-collar tsunami. We looked at how senior talent is being amplified to unprecedented levels, while the traditional entry-level training ground is just being wiped out to fund data centers.
Yeah.
And we saw how the corporate moats of the future are built on proprietary data and deep human relationships, not just having a slick software interface.
And finally, we discovered the ultimate irony. In a world where machines handle the logic, the coding, and the execution, our most distinctly human traits, our lived stories, our physical presence, our empathy, and our relentless curiosity have actually become our greatest professional assets.
It's so true.
For you listening, whether you are managing a massive enterprise, consulting for clients, or just studying for your university midterms, the absolute worst thing you could do right now is stand still.
Do not stand still.
Don't let the alarming headlines make you anxious. Start experimenting with these tools today. Break them, figure them out, and learn to speak their language so you can become the architect of your own career.
The wave is already crashing over the industry. You can either let it pull you under, or you can learn to surf it.
If AI eventually handles all the heavy lifting of execution, and we are left only with generating ideas, guiding the architecture, and experiencing the physical world, will our definition of work become entirely about what we feel and conceptualize, rather than what we manually produce? Something to think about the next time you let an AI write your emails.